the visible demographic change. The ominous signs are backed by census figures. Even census 2011, 12 years since the last census, the influx of illegals seems to only have escalated. Back in August 2022, for the first time, in Assam, the indigenous Muslims told us that the influx of Bangladeshis had led to a madrasa in every village in districts like Dhubri, a population increase which was suspected as a deliberate design for orchestrating a demographic change to push a devious agenda, because importantly, these illegals are culturally different in outlook and design. In the same year, the investigation by CNN News18 in Bihar's Simanchal region saw Pakka colonies in no man's land. At least 7 districts in Bihar form Simanchal that runs parallel to the Indo-Nepal border that witnessed dramatic demographic shift that widened the scope for illegal activities along India's international border. A similar trend on ground was also witnessed in Uttar Pradesh, where the no man's land with Nepal extends. And your channel found hard evidence on ground that the influx of illegals is great and it is perpetual. In Uttar Pradesh, along the India-Nepal border districts of Bahraich, Maharajganj, Pilibhit, etc., a 30% spurt was seen in madrasas and masjid constructions compared to the previous year. And now in Jharkhand, a similar trend is being witnessed. CNN News18's investigation exposes the reality of Jharkhand. Our exposés in the past have forced the center to take note. Agencies were instructed to keep a hawk eye on the demographic changes in the border areas. Now, to the investigation that we are now going to put out tonight in Jharkhand. Ladies and gentlemen, history must be remembered. The ancient Rajmahal hills of Jharkhand is where the Santhal tribe settled in the 18th century. The brave Santhals rebelled against the British in 1855, 2 years even before the 1857 revolt. Since then, the Santhals have adhered to the rule of not selling their land to non-tribals, and this extends to all tribals in that region. However, today, the brave Santhals are neglected. Their existence is in danger due to demographic changes. They are forced to leave their homes, their traditional lands, and migrate to other states and other places in search of livelihood, and also because of this constant influx of illegals. This unabated influx of illegals from Bangladesh into Santhal Parganas division of Jharkhand has not only triggered a cataclysmic demographic change but also poses a grave threat to the tribals of the state. CNN News18 Saurabh travelled across Jharkhand to assess the impact of influx of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh and discovered how these illegals are being provided shelter in madrasas in tribal Santhal Pargana region. Fake documents are being created and their names are being added to the electoral rolls. Before we get you the entire ground report, here are some of the top findings of CNN News18's investigation. The first finding: the influx of illegal immigrants or illegals from Bangladesh is huge. It's steady. Illegals reportedly given shelter in madrasas. So there are locals who are actually helping them, or agents or people, agencies who are backing, or entities who are backing this influx, perhaps with a greater devious design. Santhals claim their lands have been illegally encroached upon. They have been forced to vacate their traditional lands, and they have now seen pakka structures built by these illegals from Bangladesh. Fourth finding: mosques, madrasas are being built on encroached land and at an alarming density, which is not a natural phenomenon in this region. Jharkhand police raising red flag over illegals. They've actually written a letter, the special branch has written a letter across Jharkhand asking the district commissioners, collectors and the important senior police officials to keep a close watch. Have a look at this detailed investigation report.
Behind me is the Rajmahal Hills of Santhal region in Jharkhand, where the Santhal tribe had settled in 18th century. They were brought by Britishers for agricultural purposes. But the very Santhals fought with the Britishers and Zamindars against the atrocities of Zamindari system. It was fought in 1855, 2 years before the revolt of 1857. Since then, the Santhals had decided that they would not sell their land to any non-tribal. But the existence of the brave Santhals is in danger now. Reason? Demographic change.
A letter from the special branch of the Jharkhand police has warned of an influx of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. The letter, accessed by CNN News18, warns that these illegals are being given shelters and madrasas in the tribal Santhal Pargana region. Fake documents created and their names added to the electoral rolls. CNN News18 travelled across the Santhal Pargana region of Jharkhand from Sahibganj, Pakur, Dumka to Deoghar.
90 के दशक से लगभग इस क्षेत्र में लगातार बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठ हो रहा है और बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठ का आप अंदाजा इस तरह से लगा सकते हैं कि राजमहल प्रखंड, उधवा प्रखंड, बढ़रवा प्रखंड, पाकुड़ सदर प्रखंड, इन क्षेत्रों में जो पंचायतों का विभाजन हुआ है और नए पंचायत बने हैं तो उसमें से अधिकांश पंचायत वही बने हैं जो मुस्लिम जनसंख्या से अधिक थे और इसके माध्यम से बड़े पैमाने पर एक नियोजित साजिश के तहत इस इलाके में घुसपैठ हो रही है.
The claim on illegal influx seems to be substantiated by the census figures. Between 2001 and 2011, there has been an overall increase of 14% in Muslim population in the state. In the same time period, the Santhal population grew at 14.2%.
These are the things which are coming in the reports. We have not yet received any report from the government as it, but once we receive it, we have already given the directions that wherever any illegal kind of activities that comes to the notice of the local administration, whatever the legal steps has to be taken, it will be taken by us.
For the BJP, this change in demography is due to Bangladeshi infiltration, a claim the state government denies. Government appears to be playing down the issue, blaming the BJP for fear-mongering.
पाकुड़ जिला जब 2000 में झारखंड और बिहार बना तो केवल 35% मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन. आज पाकुड़ का यदि आप सेंसस निकाल लीजिए अभी 2021-22 का जो भी जनगणना होगा, आपको आश्चर्य होगा कि वो कम से कम 62-63% आदिवासी लड़कियों को जबरदस्ती धर्मांतरण करके या शादी के माध्यम से जो बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठिए हैं वो जमीन भी हड़प रहे हैं, वो उनके साथ शादी भी कर रहे हैं, उनका धर्म परिवर्तन भी करा रहे हैं.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास इशू कुछ नहीं जनता के, और ये बात आज से नहीं वर्षों से हम लोग को सुनने के लिए मिल रहा है. लेकिन हमारा कहना है कि बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्स किसकी है? बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्स कमजोर है, मॉनिटरिंग कम है. इनके जिम्मेदार कौन है? इनको रखने वाला कौन है? उनको देखने वाला कौन है? केंद्र सरकार है. तो केंद्र सरकार की विफलता मेरे सर पर मढ़ाने से तो कुछ नहीं.
Social researchers quoting government data say the Adivasis form the biggest among the migrant population, fleeing from unemployment and poverty.
एक तो गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स काफ़ी कम है और जो भी इस क्षेत्र में जो भी काम करते हैं लोग एक्चुअली मोस्टली पलायन करके महाराष्ट्र, गुजरात और आपका पंजाब पलायन करके ही लोग काम करते हैं. तो यहाँ पर कोई बहुत बड़ा फ़र्क नहीं हो रहा, लेकिन बाहर जाके यही लोग काम करते हैं.
Activists allege that these illegal immigrants are encroaching on tribal land, especially in the Sahibganj district. This land in the Nayabasti locality of Rajmahal is owned by J. Trudeau, a Santhal. He alleges that his private property was encroached upon by Muslims. Construction of pakka houses can be seen on this land. We tracked him down and he showed us the papers of that land. He alleged that he was not the only victim.
बहुत सारे ऐसे हैं हमारे कास्ट के लोग जो हैं उनकी ज़मीन पे भी काफ़ी सारे अवैध कब्जा हुआ है. ये किसी न किसी रूप से हुआ, या कोई जमाई बन के कर ले, या कुछ शादी का प्रलोभन देकर कर ले, या कोई दूसरा स्वार्थ देकर कर ले, लेकिन कब्जा वहाँ पर हमारे संथाल ट्राइब की ज़मीन पे काफ़ी कब्जा हुई है.
We are here at Rajmahal subdivision of Sahibganj district, and this side of the railway track we can see the land over here, and it's totally tribal land according to the papers what we have got. And now we can see the constructions going on. Some makeshift houses are there made up of aluminium sheets, and brick houses are there. That means that construction of some houses have already begun, and we are learning that these houses belong not of the tribals but from illegal migrants according to the local people here.
It's not just tribal land. This mosque is being constructed in the ecologically sensitive zone of Sahibganj, Udva block.
Just in the range of 200 meters we have seen that there are around 5 mosques, and this mosque is under construction as we see.
The local MLA says he has raised the issue in the Jharkhand Assembly but has received no response. CNN News 18 too reached out to the local administration for comment, but answers were not forthcoming.
मैंने विधानसभा में इस बात को उठाया था कि आप पता करिए कि वहाँ धार्मिक स्थल कैसे बन रहा है, लेकिन सरकार गोल मटोल जवाब दे करके अपना इतिश्री समझ ले रही है। तो कहीं न कहीं ये तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति के कारण इस प्रकार का खेल चल रहा है।
We have traveled more than 2500 kilometers and covered 4 districts and international border as well to bring you this report. There are several cases of Bangladeshi infiltration. The Ranchi High Court has taken cognizance of the PIL filed, and the special branch has asked the police captains to submit a report. The issue is the internal security of the state. The issue is the survival of the tribes in the state. The issue is whether the government is playing appeasement politics. The outcome will be the action taken by the state. With camera person Shahboob Alam, this is Saurav reporting from Santhal Pargana for CNN News 18.
This is India. Anybody can come here and live here as long as they do it officially. Illegals are forcing tribals to leave their traditional lands. The Santhals who are integral to the Bharat story, those who are integral to the fight for our freedom, those who resisted the colonizers are now have to move out of these places because their lands are being taken, they are being forced to flee, and illegals are being allowed to settle on land that doesn't belong to them by people with vested interests. Let's go straight across to Kunal Sarangi, spokesperson of the Jharkhand BJP, and Tanuj Khatri, spokesperson of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. We'll have Neeraj Hembram, Santhal activist, also joining us, and we are hopeful that Raghubar Das, the former Chief Minister of Jharkhand, also joins us. But Kunal Sarangi, is this a new phenomenon or it's been happening for a while and nobody's done anything about it?
See, as you rightly mentioned in your report, our Honorable MP Nisikant Dubeji has raised it in the Parliament so many times in the last 1 decade. So it's not a new problem. The new problem is this government. It is like that big elephant in the room that they don't want to see. It is a prevalent phenomenon there in Santhal Pargana. Everybody knows that how this infiltration happens, how the local madrasas play host to these infiltrators initially till they get their IDs done, official IDs, get these people included into the voter list so that they are officially Indian citizens, illegal Indian citizens. They are made, and then the real game begins, like marrying the local Adivasi women, acquiring acres and acres of land. So this is how the entire ecosystem functions. So you need to go very deep into this because local politicians, local NGOs, they all have a very huge nexus in Santhal Pargana. And I'll just quote a few numbers before we go into the details of this. In Sahibganj, if you go by the population in 2001, the total population was around 9,27,000. Out of which the Muslim population was around 2,70,000. Come to think of it, in 2011, the same Muslim population has gone up to 3,08,000. So this increase is absolutely not justifiable by any stretch of imagination, that it is a normal increase. Unless it has been purposefully done in connivance with the local administration and the people who get the benefit of this vote bank.
How do you want to respond, Tanuj Khatri?
देखिए, जब देश में चुनाव आता है तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी को हिंदुस्तान के साथ पाकिस्तान और साथ में फ्री में बांग्लादेश याद आता है। ये भूल जाते हैं कि जब डबल इंजन की सरकार थी और देश में 9 सालों से इनकी सरकार है, क्या बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्स पर हेमंत सोरेन जी बैठे हुए हैं क्या? बीएसएफ की जिम्मेदारी है कौन आता है देश के अंदर में, कौन जाता है, और इसकी जिम्मेदारी माननीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी की है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की है, नरेंद्र मोदी साहब की है। और आप सिर्फ तुष्टीकरण करने के लिए, क्योंकि चुनाव है अब देश के अंदर में, अपना 2024 के एजेंडे को फुलफिल करने के लिए कि किस तरीके से हिंदू मुसलमान किया जाए और इसका सीधा लाभ भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मिले। सिर्फ एक आप जवाब दीजिए कि झारखंड की हाईकोर्ट ने किसको शो कॉज किया? केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालय को झारखंड की हाईकोर्ट ने किया। और इनके जो विधायक, स्थानीय विधायक, वो कहते हैं कि 1990 से हम आंदोलन कर रहे हैं वहां पर।
अच्छा,
आप 1990 से आंदोलन कर रहे थे, लेकिन तब आप कहां थे जब आपकी सरकार थी?
अच्छा,
आपने
कुणाल कुछ कहना चाहते हैं? कुणाल
First of all, I would like to remind my dear friend Tanuj Khatri that the High Court has not pulled up the central government. It has pulled up the state government by mentioning it very clearly that what have you done till date about this infiltration issue? What your DCs have done, what your SPs have done. The High Court has actually asked the state government to submit a report of all the 4 district DCs as soon as possible, that what they have done about this issue. Second thing, they keep mentioning it. It's a very pathetic narrative that they always take, that whenever it is an election time, it's not election time. This has been going on for the last, till Jharkhand's formation, for the last 23 years. In the local assembly, also in the parliament, our representatives have been raising this issue time and again. And as far as BSF, the role of BSF is concerned, the BSF has also submitted a clear-cut report to the Home Ministry that this is what they have done and how the local functionaries are in connivance with
मेरा प्रश्न बहुत सिंपल। See, देखिए, if you are raising it for many decades, how are they coming? सबसे बड़ी दूसरी बात, तनुज, एक बार अगर वो आ गए, ठीक है, आपकी सरकार ने ये मुद्दा उठाया है। दूसरी बात, संथल तो झारखंडी हैं, वो तो झारखंड के लोग हैं, जमीन तो उनकी है, अनाधिकृत जमीन पर मस्जिद और मकान कैसे बन रहे हैं, मदरसे कैसे बन रहे हैं, ये तो स्टेट का इशू है। इस पे सेंटर क्या करेगी?
एंड एनआईए ने कितनी बार इस चीज को कहा है?
तनुज को बोलने दीजिए।
हमेशा झारखंड से जुड़ क्यों जाते हैं?
जी देखिए, जो स्टेट का इशू है, स्टेट उसको जब से हमारी सरकार बनी है हम उसको देखने का काम कर रहे हैं, उसको मॉनिटर करने का काम कर रहे हैं।
क्या देखा है ये बता दे,
उसका निष्पादन करने का काम कर रहे हैं।
बता दे कि आपने क्या देखा है, कौन सा निष्पादन किया, ये बता दे।
काम कौन कर रहा है?
नहीं, एक बात बताइए, अभी हमारे कैमरा में कैद है तनुज, हमारे कैमरा में ये कैद, आप मुझे बस एक बात बताइए, हमारे कैमरा में ये कैद है कि अनाधिकृत जमीन है, ट्राइबल लैंड है, रिकॉर्ड्स के हिसाब से वहां पक्का घर बन रहे हैं। किस बेसिस पे बन रहे हैं? और एक बार वहां मस्जिद खड़ी हो गई, एक बार वहां मदरसा खड़ा हो गया, उसको आप तोड़ेंगे नहीं। तो ये तो बेधड़ल्ले से चल रहा है। और फिर आप ही के से स्टेट के अंदर, सिस्टम के अंदर कोई इनके कागज बना रहा है ना, वो तो कागज कौन बनवा के दे रहा है?
3 साल में इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं क्या? 3 साल में सभी इमारतें बन गई क्या? ये भी तो बताइए।
अरे मैं तो आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ, आप इनको लेकिन इनको रिजेक्ट करके जनता ने आपको मैंडेट दिया है ना, तो 3 साल में आपने क्या किया? ठीक है, मान लीजिए आपके आर्गुमेंट, तनुज, आपके आर्गुमेंट को मैं मानता हूं कि
सुन नहीं रहे,
नहीं, मैं सुनना चाहता हूं। मैं आपसे कह रहा हूं, मान लिया आपके आर्गुमेंट को, मान लिया कि डबल इंजन की सरकार के अंदर ये बहुत कुछ अनाधिकृत हुआ, तो मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं 3 साल में आपने क्या किया? आपने कितने ऐसे जो अनाधिकृत जगह हैं इसको तोड़े हैं और कैसे कितना आपने बदला? आपने क्या कार्रवाई की है? मैं आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूं, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि पहले नहीं हुआ।
हाँ बिल्कुल, चलिए, कम से कम आपने अपने चैनल के अंदर में ये तो माना।
रुकिए कुणाल, एक मिनट,
मैं आपको थैंक यू बोलना चाहता हूं कि आपने माना कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के शासन काल में सारी चीजें हुई, और ठीक है, अगर उसकी जिम्मेदारी हमें है तो हम उसको सुधारने का काम करेंगे। लेकिन भेजा किसने? आप
नहीं, भेजा किसने नहीं। तनुज, आप एक बात बताइए, पिछले 3 साल में आपने कितनों को वापस भेजा और कितनी जमीन वापस संथालियों को वापस दी है? मैं आपको यही पूछ रहा हूं। आपने
ये
3 साल
अलग issue है,
देखिए
ये
वो
अलग issue है।
अभी तो
आपका-
मुख्यमंत्री खुद ट्राइबल हैं। मैं कह रहा हूं ट्राइबल हित
बिल्कुल-
के लिए
बिल्कुल
जो
है।
अनधिकृत जमीनें हैं, जिनको जमीन छोड़कर जाना पड़ा, जिनकी जमीनों पर अब कब्जा कर दिया गया अवैध, 3 साल में कितने एकड़ जमीन वापस हुई है संथलियों को? आपने क्या किया है?
हमने क्या किया वही आप
he
सुनिएगा
doesn't
तो मैं
have any
बताता हूँ।
answer to these questions.
हम लगातार, हमारी सरकार जब से बनी है, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री हेमंत सोरेन जी लगातार इन सभी मुद्दों को लेकर संवेदनशील हैं।
अगर
कि
संवेदनशील
किसी
है
की
तो
जमीन-
सर 5
अरे
जून को
जमीन
पुलिस को
किया
क्यों
क्या
ये
है?
पुलिस को
आनंद
क्यों ये
जी,
एडवाइजरी
जमीन
जारी करनी
लूटने
पड़ी?
की तो योजना
5
केंद्र
जून
सरकार ने
2023 के बाद की ये
बनाई।
तस्वीरें जो हम लगा रहे
अरे
हैं,
जल जंगल जमीन
5
को तो
जून
खत्म
5
करने की
जून
योजना बनाई
2023 के
इन्होंने,
बाद
भारतीय
की
जनता
तस्वीरें
पार्टी ने।
तनुज जी हम लगा रहे हैं। आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू कम अवे फ्रॉम यू कुणाल एंड तनुज, प्लीज वेट विद मी। आई थिंक वी हैव सीएम फॉर्मर सीएम ऑफ झारखंड रघुबर दास जी विद अस। रघुबर दास जी नमस्ते।
नमस्ते।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद समय देने के लिए। मैं आनंद नरसिम्हन बोल रहा हूं। रघुबर दास जी, ये जो संथलियों की जमीन पर अनाधिकृत कब्जा हो रहा है, बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठिए अंदर आ रहे हैं, इलीगल इमिग्रेंट झारखंड में आकर बस रहे हैं और पूरे झारखंड में ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये कब से चल रहा है? आरोप यह है कि आपके कार्यकाल से भी ये चला आ रहा है।
नहीं, देखिए, जब से वेस्ट बंगाल में वामपंथी की सरकार थी, तो वामपंथी सरकार मुस्लिम तुष्टीकरण और वोट बैंक के दृष्टिकोण से मुर्शिदाबाद में पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार के द्वारा आधार कार्ड, राशन कार्ड बनाकर ये लोग मुर्शिदाबाद के माध्यम से पाकुड़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट से, आज से नहीं, जब देश कांग्रेस की राज थी इस देश में, तब से पाकुड़, साहेबगंज, जामताड़ा, गोड्डा, संथाल परगना के विशेष 4-5 जिले में कांग्रेस के राज के समय से ही यहाँ लव जिहादी और लैंड जिहादी का दौर चल रहा था। हमारी सरकार के समय भी जब जानकारी मिली और उसमें पीएफआई, पॉपुलर फ्रंट ऑफ इंडिया भी इन्वॉल्व था, देश का झारखंड पहला राज्य जहां हमने पीएफआई को बैंड किया, और 2018 में हमने भारत सरकार को पत्र लिखा कि झारखंड में एनआरसी लागू करना बहुत ही जरूरी है, क्योंकि संथाल परगना की जिस प्रकार हमारी जो आदिवासी आदिकाल से रह रहे हैं झारखंड में, वो माननीय हेमंत सोरेन जी की सरकार आने के बाद तेजी से घुसपैठियां आज झारखंड में घुस रहे हैं, लव जिहादी कर रहे हैं, और अगर नहीं मार रहे हैं तो हमारी बेटियां को 25-50 टुकड़ा करके जिंदा जला दिया जा रहा है। ये हेमंत सोरेन जी की सरकार में हुई है। और इस तरह लगातार जो आदिकाल से हमारा आदिवासी समाज,
आप ये कह रहे हैं
अगर वोट बैंक और तुष्टीकरण में कांग्रेस, झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा की राजनीति चलती रही, तो
पर एक बात बता, आप ये कह रहे हैं कि जब तक एनआरसी लागू नहीं होगा इसका कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं है?
एकदम सोल्यूशन है। अब गो तस्करी बड़ी धड़ल्ले से हो रहा है। जब इन घुसपैठियों को सरकार का संरक्षण प्राप्त हो वोट बैंक के दृष्टिकोण से, तो मैं मानता हूं ये जो पाकिस्तान में परमाणु बम है, उससे भी खतरनाक ये बांग्लादेशी मानव बम है। इसको अविलंब राज्य सरकार को, एक आदिवासी मुख्यमंत्री जो अपने को तथाकथित आदिवासी नेता कहते हैं, उनके राज्य में जिस तरह धड़ल्ले से आज पाकुड़ में हमारी आदिवासी समाज, हिंदू समाज अल्पसंख्यक हो गए।
तो आप ये कह रहे हैं कि 2014 से 2019 के बीच में जब आपका कार्यकाल था ये नहीं हो रहा था?
कम थी, हमने कड़ाई की थी, सभी डीसी एसपी को निर्देश था, एक गौ तस्करी किसी की हिम्मत नहीं होती थी। आप वहां के लोगों से जाके पूछ लीजिए, जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार थी, चाहे अवैध घुसपैठी हो चाहे गौ तस्करी हो, हमने पूरी कड़ाई की थी और एनआरसी लागू करने के लिए हमने भारत सरकार को चिट्ठी भी जारी की थी। लेकिन माननीय हेमंत सोरेन जी की सरकार बनने के साथ ही ये धर्मांतरण का धंधा, ये गो तस्करी का धंधा, वोट बैंक तुष्टीकरण के तहत जिस तरह वामपंथी पश्चिम बंगाल में अवैध घुसपैठी कराए, उसी तरह ममता जी के दीदी के द्वारा भी बड़े पैमाने पर, और आपने ठीक ही कहा कि जिस तरह फ्रांस में दंगाइयों के द्वारा आज तोड़फोड़ कर रहे हैं, सब वैसी शक्तियां भी आज झारखंड में प्रवेश कर गई है। और जितने भी संथाल परगना में क्राइम होते हैं, चाहे अवैध माइनिंग हो रहा है, सब बांग्लादेशी मुसलमान। और जो झारखंड के मुसलमान है, जो भारतीय मुसलमान है, उनका भी जमीन हड़पने का काम ये बांग्लादेशी मुसलमान लोग कर रहे हैं।
इनको
उनसे भी झगड़ा
संरक्षण कौन दे
झंझट
रहा
कर रहे
है?
हैं।
इनको संरक्षण सिर्फ स्टेट या पॉलिटिशियन तो नहीं दे सकता। इनके पेपर तो पॉलिटिशियन नहीं बना रहे, इनके वोटर आईडी कार्ड तो लोकली बन रहे हैं। ये मदरसों के ऊपर क्या एक्शन लिया आपने? कितनी एकड़ जमीन आपने जो एनक्रोच की गई थी, या कितने थे जिनको कि आपने वापस भेज दिया? क्या इसका सोल्यूशन है?
हम लोग ने पूरे डीसी को टाइट किया था कि किसी का भी अधिकार आधार कार्ड या राशन कार्ड बिना जांच पड़ताल के द्वारा ना हो। 5 साल हमारी सरकार भी थी, कहाँ किसी ने इस तरह के कोई आरोप लगाया कि बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठ हो रहा, वोटर लिस्ट में नाम लिखा रहा। जब हमें जानकारी मिली तो हम लोग ने साहेबगंज में कुछ लोग को वोटर लिस्ट में नाम कटवाने का भी काम किए थे, जो पहले से रह रहे थे। तो हमारे समय जिस धड़ल्ले से अभी घुसपैठी हो रही है, हमारे समय बहुत ही नगण्य था। और जब हमारी ध्यान में आई तो हमने भारत सरकार को भी एनआरसी लागू हो, और इस राज्य में एनआरसी झारखंड में लागू होना बहुत जरूरी है। नहीं तो झारखंड में हमारा जो आदिकाल से आदिवासी समाज रह रहे हैं, जो मूलवासी समाज रह रहे हैं, अल्पसंख्यक
तो
के
पर हेमंत सोरेन जी तो खुद ही मूलवासी हैं। हेमंत सोरेन जी इसकी आज्ञा क्यों देंगे?
तो इनको आदिवासी समाज से कोई मतलब नहीं है, इनको वोट बैंक से मतलब है, तुष्टीकरण से मतलब है। इनको सत्ता की राजनीति कर और यहाँ के प्राकृतिक संसाधन को लूटना। जब जब इस राज्य में कांग्रेस, झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा, आरजेडी की शासन बनी, तब तब हमारे यहाँ के प्राकृतिक संसाधन की लूट हुई। 2007-8 में भी झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा, कांग्रेस, आरजेडी की सरकार थी। एक निर्दलीय को मुख्यमंत्री बनाकर जो पूरी दुनिया में 4000 करोड़ का घोटाला, माइंस घोटाला, आज भी आप देखें इन 3.5 वर्ष के अंदर 2 इनके बड़े अधिकारी आज जेल में है। खुद मुख्यमंत्री पर कटघरे में खड़े हैं। 5 साल हमारी भी सरकार थी, ईमानदार सरकार दिया था हमने। कोई मंत्री अधिकारी पर किसी तरह की कोई जांच नहीं। ये स्थिति झारखंड में है। और आदिवासी मुख्यमंत्री रहते हुए
देखिए, मैं पॉलिटिकल आरोप से ज्यादा मैं तो ये
इतिहास
आप भी भारतीय हैं, हेमंत सोरेन जी भी भारतीय हैं, संथाली तो यहाँ के मूल निवासी हैं। तो इन भारतीयों को छोड़कर कोई बांग्लादेशी और इलीगल जो आए हैं देश में, अवैध रूप से आए हैं, उनकी मदद क्यों कोई करेगा?
वोट बैंक, क्योंकि ये एक मुफ्त वोट देते हैं। इनको आदिवासी समाज से मतलब नहीं है, संथाली समाज से मतलब नहीं है, इनको वोट से मतलब है। इनकी सत्ता की राजनीति का जो समीकरण है उससे मतलब है। इनको ना संथाली समाज से मतलब है, ना आदिवासी समाज से मतलब है, ना झारखंडियों से मतलब है, ना इस राज्य से मतलब। इनकी राजनीति सिर्फ वोट बैंक की दुकानदारी चलते हैं।
पर अब आप एक बात बताइए, जितने अब आ गए जिन्होंने अपने कागज बनवा लिए, आप जानते हैं वो बांग्लादेशी हैं, उनको आप वापस नहीं भेज सकते क्योंकि वो अपने कागज दिखाएंगे। तो एनआरसी लागू करने से क्या होगा?
नहीं तो कब से कागज बनाए भी जांच करना होगा ना। फिर मैं कह रहा हूं कि इसका सबसे जो ये पश्चिम बंगाल, मुर्शिदाबाद, ये जो काफी संख्या में इधर, ठीक है पाकुड़ से हमारा 40-50 किलोमीटर बॉर्डर है बांग्लादेश, जो नदी की तरफ से आता है, लेकिन बड़े पैमाने पर जो बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठ होते हैं वो मुर्शिदाबाद के थ्रू होता है, क्योंकि वो बांग्लादेश से सीधे मुर्शिदाबाद आ जाते हैं और वहां आधार कार्ड, राशन कार्ड में, और वो प्रवेश करते हैं झारखंड में। और वो बांग्लादेश का भी वोट देते हैं, वहां के भी नागरिक है, झारखंड के भी नागरिक है। तो इसीलिए बहुत जरूरी है झारखंड में एनआरसी लागू होने की जरूरत है यहाँ। अन्यथा झारखंड का पूरा डेमोग्राफी बदल जाएगा। हमारा आदिवासी समाज जो आदिकाल से रह रहे हैं उसकी अस्तित्व ही आज खतरे में है।
तो आप ये कह रहे हैं कि एनआरसी के अलावा और कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं है? हेमंत सोरेन जी अगर चाहें तो इसको रोक नहीं सकते। आप क्या इसको ग्राउंड पर उठा रहे हैं? क्या ग्राउंड पर आपने इसके बारे में बात की है?
नहीं, मैं सरकार बनने के बाद 1 महीने के बाद ही मैंने सबसे पहले प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके कहा था कि झारखंड का, खासकर संथाल परगना का डेमोग्राफी बदल रहा है। जिस तरह वोट बैंक तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति में वर्तमान कांग्रेस जेएमएम की सरकार जिस धड़ल्ले से बांग्लादेशी अवैध प्रवेश कर रहे हैं, और जिस धड़ल्ले से गो तस्करी हो रहा है झारखंड में, अब सारा डीसीएसपी को सीएमओ से इंस्ट्रक्शन है कि गो तस्करी पर कोई रोक टोक नहीं, कोई पकड़ दकड़ नहीं होनी चाहिए। आपका रिपोर्टर वहां पूरा फील्ड में गए होंगे, आपको बताए होंगे क्या स्थिति है वहां आज की।
जी, तो अंत में आप ये कह रहे हैं कि एक, झारखंड में एनआरसी आवश्यक है, दूसरा इनको जानबूझकर कोई संरक्षण दे रहा है, सिर्फ पॉलिटिकल संरक्षण है कि यहाँ पर कोई ऐसी एंटिटीज हैं जो पैसा भी दे रही?
नहीं, इसमें एक पॉलिटिकल संरक्षण तो हो रहा है। अभी आपको बताऊं, मैं जिला परिषद का चुनाव हुआ, इसमें पीएफआई हमने बैंड किया था, इस सरकार में ढील दे दी है, जिसके कारण 21 जिला परिषद के लोग जीते हैं। ये लोग अवैध माइनिंग में भी इन्वॉल्व है। मैंने उसमें प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके 3 जो बांग्लादेशी लोग थे, अवैध माइनिंग शिकारी पाड़ा क्षेत्र संथाल परगना में अवैध माइनिंग, तो ये लोग फाइनेंशियल भी बहुत मजबूत हो रहा है। पत्थर का अवैध माइनिंग, बालू का अवैध माइनिंग, आपका कोयला का अवैध माइनिंग। अब बॉर्डर शिकारी पाड़ा पश्चिम बंगाल से सटा हुआ है, वहां से अवैध बालू पश्चिम बंगाल जा रहा है। ये सारे झारखंड के समाचार पत्र मीडिया में बातें आ चुकी है। इन सरकार, हेमंत सोरेन जेएमएम की सरकार में ये चाहता आदिवासी समाज पिछड़ा रहा है, आदिवासी झारखंड पिछड़ा रहा, इनकी वोट बैंक की राजनीति चलता रहा और यहाँ के प्राकृतिक संसाधन को लूटते रहे, और चुनाव में फिर लूट का कुछ हिस्सा गरीबों के बीच बांटकर फिर हम सत्ता की राजनीति करें। इनकी यही राजनीति है।
रघुबर दास जी, हमसे बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। unabashed and unbridled there, Raghubar Das, in his criticism of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, and also saying that this is a larger problem. I'm just going to take this back. Raghubar Das ji, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. So he's saying that it's not just illegal influx of illegals, they are also into illegal mining, cattle smuggling, and they are also forcing the locals, the indigenous population out. And he's saying during his tenure, they tried to curb it, but the solution is NRC. Over the last 4 years, there has been a khuli chhoot under the Hemant Soren government. Now, I am somewhere very surprised, Tanuj Khatri, that Hemant Soren ji, despite being a Moolwasi, despite being a tribal, how and why will he allow this to the Adivasis, and why would he allow this to happen there? There is visual evidence of tribal land being brazenly encroached upon. Tanuj, please respond, and then Kunal.
देखिए आनंद जी, सरप्राइज तो हम तब होते हैं जब रघुवर दास जी के मुख से आदिवासियों की बात निकलती है। वो तब चुप हो, तब कहां चले जाते हैं जब तब देखिए, बोल 20 मिनट पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री को भी हमने सुनने का काम किया जी। तब वो कहां चुप हो जाते हैं जब मध्य प्रदेश के अंदर में आदिवासी युवक के चेहरे पर पेशाब किया जाता है। तब वो क्यों चुप हो जाते हैं जब मणिपुर पे आदिवासियों पर की हत्याएं होती हैं, दंगा होता है, और वो कहते हैं कि सरकार बनने के 1 महीने के बाद मैंने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस किया। अरे वाह रघुवर दास जी, क्या खाया था आज आपने? 1 महीने के बाद आपने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस किया, तो 1 महीने पहले ही आप जब सत्ता में थे कड़ी कार्रवाई कर देते। तो ऐसी तो बातें निकल कर आई। आज इनके पास जवाब नहीं है कि बीएसएफ इनका क्या कर रहा है, आज इनके पास जवाब नहीं है कि गृह मंत्रालय क्या कर रहा है, और हास्यास्पद बात करके जाते हैं टीवी चैनल पर कि हेमंत सोरेन की सरकार बनने के 1 महीने बाद
इनके पास जवाब नहीं है। इनके एक साल पुराने वीडियो की बात आप उठा सकते हैं, लेकिन 4 साल से जो चल रहा है उस पर आपने एक ठोस जवाब नहीं दिया। एक चित्र आपने मुझे नहीं बताया जहां इन इलीगल मस्जिद, इलीगल मदरसे, इलीगल मकानों पर आपने बुलडोजर चलाया हो और ये कहा हो कि ये संथलियों की जमीन है, संथली यहाँ रहेंगे, कोई घुसपैठिया नहीं रहेगा। 4 साल में एक तस्वीर तनुज खत्री अगर आप निकाल के मुझे आज दिखा देते तो मैं कहता देखिए यहाँ डिबेट सेटल हो गया, बात खत्म हो गई। आपने भी विषय को भटकाने का काम किया, आपने सीधा जवाब नहीं दिया है। आप रघुबर दास जी पे जो आरोप लगा रहे हैं वो आरोप आप पर भी लगते हैं। कुणाल, फाइनल वर्ड। My point is, sir, if it's been happening for decades, what have the people of Jharkhand and the political leadership cutting across political parties done? Do these people don't matter? How are you allowing this? How are we as a nation allowing this?
Anand, Tanuj Khatri is as clueless as the government is about this issue. You'll be surprised to know that it is not only about infiltration. The impact has been so wide that schools there now have been named automatically without taking permission from the State Department as Urdu schools, yes, and weekly off. which is supposed to be a Sunday, now it is a Friday, which is a weekly off in many schools in Santhal Pargana. So you can imagine the impact this infiltration has created. And apart from this, forget about their involvement in different mining scams and cattle smuggling and all these illegal activities. The state government, knowing fully well that the infiltration is going on for the last forever, is absolutely unbridled. The local administration has been instructed by the state government not to act upon these people because there is a minister who is a local MLA from this area. He is a very powerful minister, part of this government, who has been the main conspirator and a person who has nurtured this infiltration over a decade for his own vote bank. This is the reality of Santhal Pargana. It is high time.
What you're saying as far as the Santhal Pargana is concerned, we reported this in more than 8 or 10 districts in Bihar.
Absolutely.
So this is a worrying trend, and we have traced this. We have traced these illegal influx of illegals.
We cannot skip West Bengal.
On the UP, Bihar, now Jharkhand, and also Bengal and also Assam. So we have seen this happening. But my point is, if it is happening in so many states, how is it that it has not got the attention of all those people who believe that India is for legal immigrants and for Indians, not for illegals? How is this being allowed? And they are actually forcing the indigenous people, the Moolwasis, out of there.
Over their priorities.
And what a history, what a pedigree, what a story is it's of the Santhalis. And how can we just allow them to wither away like this and their lands be taken away like this? I think it should prick everybody's conscience what we have put out tonight. Thank you very much, Kunal and Tanuj. Thank you very much. Before we take a break here on The Right Stand, ladies and gentlemen, quick update from Madhya Pradesh, where Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, sending out a stern message of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, met with Dashmat Rawat, the labourer from a tribal community who was urinated upon. And this video dated a year ago surfaced, but Shivraj Singh Chauhan washing the tribal man's feet, garlanding him, presenting him with gifts at his official residence in Bhopal. The Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister apologizing and saying that he was pained at seeing this viral video, that the poor are equal to God for him. The incident that took place a year ago sparked off massive controversy after the video surfaced a year later and went viral. The accused has been arrested, booked under NSA, and some strict action has been promised. This is what the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh had to say.
मेरे लिए दरिद्र ही नारायण हैं और जनता ही भगवान है। जनता की सेवा हमारे लिए भगवान की पूजा है और हम ये मानते हैं कि हर इंसान में ही भगवान निवास करता है। भाई दशमत के साथ अन्याय हुआ, मेरा मन दर्द, पीड़ा और व्यथा से भर गया। इसलिए मैंने दशमत को यहां बुलाया। मैंने दशमत के पैर धोए, पानी माथे से लगाया।
Short break. When we come back, it's the K threat, and Justin Trudeau is in denial while turning a blind eye. Is it purely vote bank politics that he's allowing secessionists to breed on Canadian soil? Stay with us.
As well as Sachin Pilot. KC Venugopal just said that everyone should follow party discipline. If someone steps out of line, action will be taken. But if we look at what Sachin Pilot's been doing for all these weeks, he has not followed the party line. At the same time, he's openly hit out at Ashok Gehlot. That resolution seems to be far from over, even in the run-up to the Rajasthan elections.
Yes, and but you know, based on how the Congress party won the Karnataka election, because if you remember initially, of course, there was fight between DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah, and remember a similar sort of a meeting was done in the national capital here, where Rahul Gandhi, where Mallikarjun Kharge intervened and said that until and unless we are not united, we will not be able to defeat the BJP in Karnataka, and because of the win that happened with the united front that has in fact been put up by DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah till the end of the elections, perhaps that is why they won, is what the Congress party believes, and a similar strategy needs to be followed not just in Rajasthan but also in Chhattisgarh. That is probably why last week we have seen how the infighting, though it is not that out in open when it comes to Bhupesh Baghel and T.S. Singh Dio, but there have in fact been war of words as far as the CM and the Deputy Chief Minister post is concerned, and to put all these gossips and fight at rest, the High Command decided to make T.S. Singh Dio the Deputy Chief Minister. But when it comes to Rajasthan, it has always been very complicated for the Congress party. But here also they want to make sure that with the campaign mode, with party going into the campaign mode, with candidates going to be selected by the first week of September, they want to ensure that there are no infighting and wants to make sure that none of these leaders go out and make statements, because this has happened time and again in Rajasthan, where we have seen Ashok Gehlot coming out and attacking Sachin Pilot going and sitting on a dharna against Ashok Gehlot government, his own government. So clearly that needs to first of all stop, and accordingly a decision to resolve that what is going to be the next responsibility that will be given to Sachin Pilot is something that is, of course, we are being told by our sources that probably by today evening or tomorrow, a decision on that will also be taken. But as far as this meeting was concerned, this was solely on the strategy of the elections for the upcoming Rajasthan elections. That was done. But as far as the responsibility for Sachin Pilot is concerned, there could be a separate meeting, there could be a separate release or a statement where it will be made clear that what is the responsibility that is going to be given to Sachin Pilot and whether he will be sufficed with that, whether he will be okay with that. Apart from that, he has also made three demands. One is, of course, investigation on the former...
Right. Thank you, Sharon, for getting us the latest from the Congress camp. Now, the West Bengal Panchayat polls are on July 8th, and the political temperature remains high in the state. Today is the last day of campaigning. Security has been tightened in the state, considering that violence that has killed more than 12 people ahead of the polls continues unabated. On Wednesday, fresh violence was reported in the Nadia district between CPM and TMC workers. Several security personnel were injured during the clashes. Right, so that is the latest coming in from the state of West Bengal, ladies and gentlemen. What we are seeing over there is the violence continuing unabated in the state of West Bengal right ahead of the Panchayat elections. Now we're getting a piece of breaking news. And West Bengal Governor Ananda Bose takes aim at Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. He blames the State Election Commission for the killings that have taken place in the run-up to the Panchayat elections. Let's listen in.
Bangore, Basandi, Kuch Bihar, Murshidabad, Purulia. Who is responsible for this? Who is responsible for this? Who is the killer? Will the State Election Commissioner SEC please raise his hand? Will the SEC please raise his hand? You should know who are the killers. You are the custodian of the lives of people during election. My constitutional appointee, you have failed, in my opinion, in your duty. You have failed the people. You are responsible for the corpses that fell on the streets.
And with that reaction, the TMC has now hit out at the governor, claiming he used the label of governor to go around filling the shoes of a BJP agent. That is the pitch coming in from TMC leader Kunal Ghosh. He says, why did he need to do a press conference calling out the TMC? That isn't his job. Let's listen.
রাজ্যপালের নামে সিভি আনন্দ বোস যে কাজটা করলেন, বিজেপির দালাল, বিজেপির এজেন্ট, আজ ভোটের রাজনৈতিক দলগুলির প্রচারের শেষ দিন। সেই প্রচারের শেষ দিনে উনি বিজেপি দালালি করে আর বিরোধীদের হয়ে প্রচার করে উনি প্রমাণ করে দিলেন যে উনি রাজনীতিই করছেন। রাজ্যপালের তো কাজ আছে, রাজ্যপালের কাজ প্রেস কনফারেন্স করে রাজনীতির বক্তৃতা দেওয়া নয়।
And I'm joined by Kamalika Sen Gupta on the broadcast. Kamalika, the war of words only escalating between the two sides, with the TMC taking a direct shot at the governor just a couple of days to go for the Panchayat elections in West Bengal.
It's day after tomorrow the Panchayat polls will take place, and today is the last day of campaign. So, though it's a Panchayat poll, but the political temperature is soaring high here, and it seems
from the compulsions of vote bank closer home that are actually allowing an influx of illegals into our country, to the compulsions of vote bank over halfway around the world, ladies and gentlemen, which is allowing a free run for secessionists who aim to break India, bleed India. Khalistan separatists have been running anti-India propaganda on foreign soil, using foreign land as a platform to defame Bharat and also to push this break India policy agenda of theirs. Time and again, India has voiced concern over the free run that these K-radicals are enjoying, and now there's pressure on the West to crack down on these secessionists. But it seems like some nations are still in denial. Canada Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, when questioned on allegations of taking a soft stance on separatist attacks, stated that India is wrong and that Canada has always taken threats of violence seriously and acted against them. UK Foreign Secretary condemning the attacks on the Indian High Commission in London, saying that it was made clear that the safety of the staff at the High Commission is paramount. But is condemnation enough? And they say any direct attack at the consulate. That's the wording. Now, is this vote bank politics that's derailing action against separatist elements who are spreading propaganda against Bharat? We debate and discuss that, but first let's listen into what Justin Trudeau said and how the MEA responded.
They are wrong. Canada has always taken extremely seriously violence and threats of violence. We've always taken serious action against terrorism, and we always will.
It is a matter of concern that freedom of expression and speech is once again being misused by anti-India elements based in Canada and elsewhere. And we continue to press the Canadian side to ensure that our diplomats can carry out their normal functions without fear or intimidation. We have seen some comments, at least the media reports about comments by Prime Minister Trudeau. But let me make the larger point that the issue is not about freedom of expression, but its misuse for advocating violence, for propagating separatism, and for legitimizing terrorism.
Dr. Walter C. Ladwig, Senior Lecturer in International Relations in the Department of War Studies at King's College London, joins us tonight. Puneet Sahni, Sikh activist, and also Ambassador Deepak Vora. Namaste. Thank you very, very much. Dr. Ladwig, how would you see the response by these nations, and what should India do?
Well, the UK has taken note of what happened back in March, and particularly these very suggestive flyers that have been circulated ahead of this demonstration on Saturday. The language used on them, the pictures of Ambassador Doraiswamy and other diplomats, really comes right up to the line of questions about what is acceptable and what is inciting violence, and coming up to be a threat. So I would hope that the foreign minister's comments are backed up by very serious action by the Metropolitan Police to make sure that the High Commission site is very well protected on Saturday.
Delhi, comparatively, Ambassador Deepak Vora, is absolutely safe, isn't it? Why do the US consulates, Canadian consulates, British consulates need additional protection? If the people of India are free, then any national is free, any consulate is free.
Thank you very much, sir. It's always a pleasure to be on your channel.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it's a great honor. Millions of people watch. You are outstanding in every which way, or you may care around. They'll say I'm not saying this just for impact. You are really outstanding. Now, we're talking about Canada and we're talking about England. Let me just tell you, British problem is atavism, living in the past. The empire is over, but they don't accept this. They've done it with Muslims from several countries, thinking that they would give them asylum in England and then use these guys to put pressure on the host government. They're trying to do the same with the Khalistanis. Look, this doesn't fool anybody. I mean, the British are legends in their own minds. They've lost it completely. Now I come to this other fellow, this buffoon, what's his name? Justin Trudeau. The fellow comes here, wears Indian clothes, does some kind of weird tribal dance and says this is Bhangra. And then he gets clobbered by the Chinese leader in Bali. And then he sort of mocks the former US president on camera. This is not statesmanship. This is the politics of the gutter which these guys indulge in. Look, the Khalistani movement, sir, in India died pretty much by the mid-90s. Operation Blue Star was done. We know what happened, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into that. But then it survives overseas. Sir, I have been in diplomacy 50 years and counting. I'm 72 years now and I've studied history. No country has been broken up by external forces. Sir, Bangladesh, I don't know how old you are, but if you remember, the movement in Bangladesh began in Bangladesh. Yeah. The refugees came to India. The movement for the separation of South Sudan, I was your ambassador, began in South Sudan. It wasn't Libya or Kenya or Uganda that were putting pressure. It has to begin there. So these jokers sitting in the relative comfort of their homes in Canada and the United Kingdom, they are using the Sikhs in India as cannon fodder. Fortunately, sir, less than 1/1,000,000% of the Sikhs here actually believe this nonsense. Yes. Those who do, and I have many Sikh friends, sir, they are very happy to accept the money that comes through whatever channels, hawala or banking, and then they do what they have to. Sir, I just wanted to say that I'm sitting here a half Sikh. My mother was a Sikh. My father was a Hindu. So I know what partition, what the so-called partition, which is the break of India, was all about. I just want to quote from the Guru Granth Sahib, sir. If you permit me, you know, there is this thing, Agya bhai akal ki tabi chalayo panth, sab sikhan nu hukam hai, Guru manyo granth. And then the most important couplet, Guru manyo granth, pargat gura di de, jo prabhu nu milna chahe, khod shabad mile. That whoever wants to meet God, you can find him in the Guru Granth Sahib. And then I'll add to that, whoever wants to meet the devil, you go and talk to the Khalistanis, you'll find him there, sir.
But something has to be done, Puneet Sahni. The response, is that adequate, or does India have to has to look at some other measures? We've talked about it in the past.
Anand.
Ji, namaste.
So actually, I want to say 2 points, but maybe I can quickly make like comments to what Professor and Ambassador said. So I'll just bring you, even when Mrs. Gandhi died in 1984, there is I even put it on my Twitter. In Britain, this Khalistanis, they basically started dancing. She was a very loved leader, and outside the Hindu neighborhoods, and and even the BBC asked like, what the hell are you doing? You have killed a very popular leader and you're celebrating. And what if there is a response from the Hindus against the Sikhs? Because you're making a celebration of it. And even that, and the Khalistanis in UK said, we don't care. What happens. We said 6 months earlier that we will kill, and he used a very bad word for Mrs. Gandhi, and we said, and we will kill again. And it was so bad in UK at that time. I'm telling you history. She was the Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. She had to come on television and condemn what these Khalistanis were doing on the UK. And of course, it is, and what, Ambassador Vora was saying, of course, nobody can break India. But the thing is, a few people can create a disruption where thousands can die. This is very possible. I will tell you, Anand, people think Bhindranwala was very popular. Actually, when, he campaigned, and his right-hand man, you can't imagine, his name was Amrik Singh, the son of his guru. He lost this Gurdwara election from Moga. They couldn't win. They had no support even then. And I've done a lot of research and given all the data. So it's not whether they can break India or not. A few people can basically cause havoc. That is true. And we should be very careful about that. Now, I want to say my thing, what this Trudeau has said. He has not just, given some political statement. He has said absolute lies. Absolute lies. And I give you with thing. So when investigation happened, India, we had so many challenges, but we were giving them intelligence all the time that, these people want to blow up the plane. And, and they had to look after just this bunch of Khalistani terrorists who were planning to, and they failed. And, they said we had no intelligence. But when this investigation proper happened, they found out they had all the intelligence. And they are so shameless people that their attorney general lied in the parliament that we had actually no intelligence. That it all came out. That India gave not just like random threats, but very specific, these people, they want to do it. It will be like this, and they do it. And this Trudeau family, as I want to say, Pierre Trudeau, you will be surprised. And, it's good that, we have professor from London. And the main guy who was found in the investigation, who was the architect and the mastermind of Air India bombing, his name was Talvinder Singh Parmar. India asked for his extradition in 1982 that he had done killings in India. You know why Trudeau's father rejected the extradition? He said because, India is not like a proper member of the Commonwealth which accepts the Queen. They did not give because we don't accept the Queen, and that man went on to become the greatest mass murderer in Canadian history. And this Justin Trudeau himself, he has gone out of his way from coast to coast to destroy all Sikhs who speak against Khalistan terrorism. I already told, in your previous episode on the West Coast in Vancouver. I tell you in the East Coast, these people are so despicable. They did in 218, there was a report of the Canadian intelligence, that this Khalistan and Sikh extremism is one of the 5 greatest threats facing Canada.
Yeah.
And, they said remove Sikh terrorism, and then they say remove Khalistani terrorism. So this Sikh parliamentarian, which is full of, this Punjabis, Brampton, which is like the South Hall of, UK. He said, how can you say that? I'm a proud Sikh, but I'm against Khalistan terrorism. How can you remove this? Do you know he was kicked out of the party? And you know what this henchman of Trudeau called him? He was kicked out because he's a racist. A Sikh standing up against Khalistan terrorism becomes a racist. No, and they have basically, it's outrageous, of course, and you feel like laughing. But if they can destroy the member of parliament who wins from the votes of Punjabis, then what an average person can say on the ground? They have terrorized everybody on the ground. There is no voice. With Twitter, there is me and Terry Miller. Yeah, please go.
Yeah. So, you've said a lot of facts, but what does India do? Dr. Ladwig,
Right.
I'm just going to bring in Professor Dr. Ladwig again. How do we sort this? If nations are going to be so brazen, then there has to be a quid pro quo, or should there be a diplomatic offensive? What should India do beyond trying to convince them?
Two-pronged. One is to say, and picking up the last point, intelligence sharing. If there is information on specific individuals and chatter about specific actions, absolutely that needs to be passed and shared. There were reports that India had done this ahead of the March attacks on the High Commission here, and for whatever reason, it fell short in terms of the Met's response. But I think Cleverly's comments suggested that won't happen again. But I think, secondly, we have to recognize that they are picking targets designed specifically to provoke, right? Look at the ambassador's comments. They're targeting soft targets in the United States, coming right on the heels of the Prime Minister's very successful visit. They're targeting the UK, where India and the UK have moved much closer in recent years. They're trying to drive a wedge between India and its partners in the world. So while pressing this case, we have to be careful to not fall out amongst each other, because that's exactly what they're trying to do.
You make a fair point, but that you can clap with 2 hands. We say it in Hindi, कि ताली 2 हाथ से बजती. You both sides have to work in tandem. So if India is sharing intelligence, a Goldie Brar, a wanted criminal, is in Canada. He has not yet been nabbed. So if the Canadian authorities are not willing to work with the Indian authorities, Ambassador Deepak Vohra, then their intent is that let there be a certain amount of friction. Do they really want to use it as leverage? Is it going to work?
It's not going to work at all. They know nothing about India. The more you trouble us, the tougher we become. Sir, there are 3 things involved. One is diplomatic outreach, as the professor has very rightly said. We have to reach out to members of our diaspora. And by the way, I served in the United States in the mid-80s. I was there when Mrs. Gandhi was assassinated. I saw the demonstrations outside the Embassy of India. I was standing right out there. And then there were threats against me. And so let me tell you something. And this is for the millions of people watching your show. And the FBI fellow who was protecting me, he said, I was the first secretary. He said, sir, if these guys get you, they're not going to get what they want in India. Eliminating 500 Indian diplomats doesn't make that kind of a difference. It'll mess up our relationship with the host country. So the first thing is diplomatic outreach, and I'm now seeing that the Indian diaspora is telling these guys, whether they are Islamic radicals or Sikh radicals or whatever, that you guys behave yourselves, otherwise now we are getting mobilized and we'll teach you a lesson. Second, sir, Canada and all these other fellows, they need me much more than I need them. I'm the 4th largest economy in the world. They are looking for my market. The China dream for them is over. We teach them a lesson. And sir, the third thing, I'm saying it, but I'm not saying it. A few of these chaps have gone to meet their maker. So perhaps
some more.
I'm not saying anything.
Some more should follow. That's what some more should follow is what you're saying. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you. I'm running out of time. Thank you for your time. We'll continue these conversations and look forward to having you joining us on the right stand very soon. Before we wind up, the head monk of the Tibetan Buddhism, the 14th Dalai Lama, turns 88 as he celebrates his birthday today. Tibetan spiritual leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is in McLeodganj near Dharamshala, said his life is dedicated to helping sentient beings and bringing others as much benefit as possible. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted, and I quote, spoke to His Holiness the Dalai Lama and conveyed heartfelt greetings to him on his 88th birthday, wishing him a long and healthy life. With that, it's a wrap of this edition of The Right Stand. Brass Tacks with Zaka.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Khalistan separatism issue is fast coming to the fore. Later this weekend, on the 8th of July, the Khalistani protesters have called for large-scale protests in the US and Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked about India's concerns regarding this K issue, and he said, upfront and bluntly and falsely,